Welcome to Evansville Podcast. My name is Jason. Thank you for listening. Today's show, we are talking to the staff of Encounter Church. We spoke with them about a year ago about them purchasing Hammerheads bar. So this is kind of a catch-up episode to see where they are in the process since purchasing, what's happened in the last year or so, and what they see for the future. We took some questions from the internets, and I was able to ask each of the staff members the questions. There's Stu Armstrong, Paul Eason, and Lou Rodriguez. They were gracious enough to come by the studio and answer some questions, so we appreciate that. Before we get into the show, here's a word from one of our other podcasts on the Evansville Podcast Network, Clockwork Nights.
What's up, Tri-State nerds? My name is Clark Wayne Osborne of the Clockwork Nights podcast. Clockwork Nights features music straight out of America's Evansville. Join me as I get to dive into the music history of our city and get to know the people behind it. Find us on iTunes or SoundCloud or Satchel by searching for Clockwork Nights Podcast.
Gentlemen, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, sir.
I know you're both familiar. The Evansville Podcast All-Stars.
Well,
that's what we like to call you.
This new location, though, it's a little bit fancy for me.
I like to throw a curveball here every once in a while.
All right.
For you. I've had you both on for different reasons, but this one you're kind of both involved with, kind of, a lot.
Kind of.
So about, what is it, like a little over a year ago, Encounter Church bought a bar, the bar, in the infamous Hammerheads. We had a sit down pretty close to when you bought it.
Yeah.
There were some questions being asked around.
We bought it late March.
Yeah, it was around Easter.
And we possessed it late April.
Right. Okay.
So actually the first week of May is probably when we possessed it. Yeah. So we're right in the middle of that. Yep.
Is it weird to say possessed in church at the same time?
Sure. Not what you're talking about, Hammerheads.
Yeah, it's not one of the questions. No, but we had questions that popped up, and I thought maybe since it's been about a little over a year, it'd be good to kind of catch up and see if anything's different at this point, or if you're
Sounds good.
Yeah.
still sitting in the same spot or whatever.
Yeah.
So a little background: you were in a gym at a church, sharing the church with a church, or at least 2, maybe 3 sometimes. Churches in this building.
So we started the church officially about 4 years ago.
Okay.
Pretty much last month, 4 years ago. And for the first 3 years, we met in the gym of another church. Yes.
Okay.
And it worked for us. It was fine.
Yeah. Play a little pickup basketball in between.
Someone makes a 3 during the sermon,
right,
you get more cheers.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. You get to go home early, right?
With tacos. Free tacos.
Free tacos if you hold the other team under 70. But then the opportunity came about to purchase Hammerheads. Yeah. Maybe briefly touch on that, I guess.
So basically, we had kind of been looking for, I'm sure it was a little over a full year before we actually made the purchase. Just kind of, we knew where we wanted to be, and we knew our vision for what we wanted to be, and finding the exact place that fit both those things. We weren't in a hurry on it, so we just we looked around downtown in a lot of buildings. I've been in a lot of buildings, but to fit a church, to have around 300 seats, we really liked the idea of Main Street. I always had said from the first time we ever met.
Yeah, the very first identity meeting of us before either of us even moved here. The lofty dream was to be on Main Street. Wouldn't it be really cool if we just had a building on Main Street from the very beginning? And we knew we wanted to be downtown, and it would be really cool if we can get a building on Main Street.
And even I think the phrase that I had said was, I'd love to be on Main Street between a couple bars. That would be awesome. And instead we bought a bar, but
really missed the mark on that one.
I know, we missed it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah, there's time in the future maybe. Yeah, speaking of, I'll just jump in one question, just kind of jumping ahead.
Sure.
But speaking of the bar, so Samantha asked, how long do you anticipate it taking before the basement stops smelling like beer?
Oh, wow.
You want to take that, or you want me to?
That was the ultimate question the very first day we got in the building, and we were tearing apart everything.
Well, no, that was the question. So I went in there before anyone just to see if we could even make this place work. And I had to like high step through everywhere because it was so sticky. And then I remember taking the trustees through, who are very good businessmen and successful, this and that. And oh man, I was kind of almost like, they're not going to, there's no way this is going to pass because it stunk and smelled and was so sticky. But then we started tearing it down. How long did it take, Paul?
Well, that first day we had everything demolished. That first day taken down, which was nuts.
So we got in there and we started. The first day we took possession of it, which was right around May 1st. It was actually like April 30th or whatever. But we knocked down every wall. We tore out everything and took it to dumpsters. And obviously, it still smelled nasty. We bleached everything, walls, ceilings, floors. Still smelled nasty.
Yeah.
Tore out the cooler, the alcohol cooler. Tore out the bars that were in there completely. Still smelled. And I think it was, then we had, I think your community group came in, Jason, and you guys primed everything, primed the walls after we had washed them like 5 times. And we thought that might help. It still smelled. And then we finally, the last thing that we did that got it was we realized there was some stuff on the stairwell that we didn't completely bleach down.
Stairwell.
And so, we bleached the stairs, both stairs twice, bleached every floor, ceiling, everything twice, as well as a lot of simple green and other stuff. So, it took a while.
Yeah, her follow-up was if the smell is already gone, she'd like to know the secrets, asking for a fraternity advisor. So any tips? I guess bleach is the...
Bleach and simple green.
Well, the simple green we tried a lot first. All the safe stuff.
Yeah.
No,
but that didn't work.
Never worked. No, just go with straight bleach.
Yeah. There's a reason. So you maybe you couldn't salvage any of the original, like the bars or anything like that. Was there a reason to take it all out, or was it because of the smell, or what was in that?
Yeah, I talked to a buddy of mine about that. That's a great question, because the way that we like to work is we like to save the old. We like to reuse material, I should say. And we were taking it out and we had to throw it away because it was all just particle and plywood that we couldn't reuse. It was all
not fancy
wet.
oak or
so
anything.
It wasn't
it's not
good wood.
Yeah, we're not talking about nice pine or 100-year-old pine. We're talking about plywood and particle board from
right.
A lot of veneer, everything.
Okay.
Yeah, not salvageable material.
Not salvageable.
Worth just trashing.
Okay. You didn't just gutting it just to gut it, but it was like we can't keep this stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
No.
So that kind of leads me to the next question. Someone asked, was it more of a challenge than you expected with the needed changes?
Yes.
Yeah.
No hesitation.
It always is, right?
Oh my word.
But,
I was telling some people earlier that if I would have known how much work we were going to have to put in and how much money we were going to have to put in before we purchased it, I would have chickened out. And I'm sure the trustees, we all agreed we would have chickened out. Now, I am very glad we did it, and I have zero regrets now, but there's no way I would have had the courage because it killed us for a long time. Yeah. It was my life for a year.
Yeah.
But
a great workout plan, though, right?
I did lose a lot of weight.
Yeah.
In the ceilings at 120 degrees with no air conditioner, like in that third floor ceiling behind. It was just like a constant drip.
Some nice sweat equity.
Yes.
Okay. So more of a challenge, lots of just, but like not an impossible. No, there wasn't anything like that to this day. You're like, I guess we were way wrong on that.
No, we sort of knew what we were getting into. You never fully know what you're getting into with an old building. But our plan from the beginning was tear down every wall, tear out every ceiling, and start from scratch. Because the bones are pretty good. Yeah. It was rebuilt in 52. And it was
really
steel and concrete.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like a Chicago-style built building in the middle of downtown Evansville, style-wise, it being concrete and rebar and steel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for people that have gone to Hammerheads, it might be funny to find out certain areas what they are now. Like what's the basement now?
Well, you want to say the funny part. So the dance floor is where we have our youth room in our college and our young adults. We have a Sunday school class there. The funniest one for me is The old liquor locker is my child's Sunday school class, Callahan.
Yeah.
So 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade class is in the old liquor locker. That was a good one.
Nice. So, and I was sad that there wasn't any like taps by the soundboard or sound room upstairs.
Yeah, you kind of wanted that, didn't you?
I mean, that I thought we had an agreement.
Sorry about that, Jason.
got
We'll
cut
work
the
on
budget.
that.
Oh man, but didn't quite make that.
Didn't make
That was one of the first things to go, right?
Budget cuts.
Your
We had-
donation wasn't quite large enough,
Oh, man.
Jason.
You always got to put it back on me. Corey asks, "How's the elevator holding up?"
It's actually really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
It would look slightly different, but that was one of the things actually that we looked at initially before we bought it. I brought in an elevator company and was just like, this could be $100,000 that we don't have.
Right.
So we brought them in. They're like, this is in great shape.
Okay.
It just hasn't. Homeland Security has never seen it, which you have to do for the elevators. And it's been 20 years since it's been inspected, and it's supposed to be every year.
Sure.
Thank you, Chris. So yeah, but actually it's in great shape, and the floor looks really cool.
Oh yeah, our associate pastor Lou, who's not here right now, he, my gosh, spent a lot of time, and and it wasn't just Lou, is we had some other volunteers that stripped it down, and it's wooden floor. It's beautiful. Original hardwood floor in the elevator. It is beautiful, and then there's no more mural, so it's just gray now. But
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little sad. I kind of like that mural. That was kind of cool looking.
Hippie Jesus.
Yeah,
and
there was something about it. But
oh man, that was so
had to
wild.
go, right?
Yeah,
Everything
thought it
must
might
go.
scare a few visitors off.
Well, you can always put it back, right?
But that floor, I didn't really
took a picture
believe.
front and center.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't believe the floor could look as cool as it does.
Oh,
Yeah.
And
man.
they were like, no, we'll
It's
get
beautiful.
it there. Okay, they did. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. And so the second floor, I guess. I always want to start with the basement as the first floor.
So, yeah, we call that the lower level.
Yeah.
Lower level.
And then we
Gotcha.
got the main
Main
level, and then we got second floor.
Second
third
floor,
Yeah.
is where you have the sanctuary, the sermons. That's the main.
Yeah, it's the whole worship
Spot,
center
right?
and the nursery and kids area right behind there. So we have 2 nursery rooms, bathroom, and our worship center
Right.
is upstairs.
Upstairs. And was there any issues with getting that? Because I know there's, it's just like there's so much stuff in there. Like, how do you remove things from, when you're cleaning out? You're saying everything's got to go. You're throwing it out windows. You're dumping it down the stairs. How are you getting things out of there?
We had a big chute.
Yeah.
We basically took, like trash cans with the holes cut out of the bottoms of them, put together for like a little chute. And that second floor wasn't that bad because we tore out all sorts of just ceiling. A lot of plaster went down that chute. I don't know how many tons, but tons, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You were there once or twice.
I was there. I was like, no, I'm done with this. I've
Yeah.
got delicate programmer hands. I can't be.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm going to use that from now on.
sound bites.
I'm gonna use
Sure.
that sound clip. At the beginning.
Jazz hands.
Ew. That's good. But yeah, that was dirty. That's just a dirty job.
It was
Yeah.
it was very
Really
dirty, but
dusty.
there wasn't. I mean, dust for like literally every time you'd go in there, you'd
Yeah.
clean it out and you'd clean it out, you clean it out. But it actually wasn't. It wasn't that much because that area was just storage and it was pretty much empty anyway. There
Yeah.
weren't walls.
Yeah, a lot of it was. That was one of the most blank slate rooms we
Yep.
could have had, honestly. Yeah.
5,000 square feet of blank slate.
Yeah, and ripping out ceiling and cleaning it up. For that specific space, for that floor.
Right.
So
Now the floor above it was a
it was
lot
a whole
worse.
other story. Yeah.
There were apartments up there that hadn't
Yeah.
been touched in 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty nasty.
And is that something that the third floor, is that like an ongoing thing, or we'll deal with this later, or did you do anything with it?
It's clean
Yeah.
now, and it's a lot of storage, and they're and actually in good spots.
Yeah.
But there's no plan for it in the near future. That's kind
Right.
of more long term. Give us about 3 years before we start
Okay.
looking that direction.
Yeah.
And then one question about the main floor. The rumors were coffee shop or something. So many new coffee shops downtown now. Is the plan still to have a coffee shop down there?
Probably not. You know, that was originally the plan because there was a need for one. And so when we bought it, we said that, and everyone else probably heard it. and said,
Don't give away your
Actually,
ideas.
I don't care. It's not a big deal. Our vision for that floor is we want a place that is not quote unquote Christian, whatever. We want to be able to lease that out to a company that has a good business plan that will bring people in where people will want to gather. Spiritually neutral, people are going to want to gather and hang out there. There's a lot of flexibility within that, and we're talking to a few different places about that, but we're not in any hurry.
Okay. So another question. How do you balance renovating a building with helping the community? Maybe that's the tough question I should have warned you about.
My thoughts on that, I think that's a great question, because I think if you never renovate the building, you're never going to get the people in there that will ultimately help the community. So it's kind of a sequential type thing to me. You feed yourself not so you get fat. You feed yourself so that you can, in turn, feed others, hopefully. And so, we had to take care of ourselves and look inside for a little bit to get in the building. While we were doing that, we still had plenty of ministries going on, but we weren't as outwardly focused as we ultimately want to be. But we're moving towards that right now. We've already had some really cool opportunities to serve the community, and this is just the beginning, and we're, So, you focus inwardly first, I think, but never with the intent of staying inwardly focused.
Not at all.
It's season.
Are you still getting negative backlash for buying Hammerheads from both sides of the aisle? But it was a bar, or, oh no, my favorite music venue.
No, I mean, I haven't, honestly, I don't think either of us have really heard anything. I've heard more positive and then just funny stories from people saying what they used to do there, and now I can't believe a church is there. Or, I mean, a lot of people in our congregation are even, I used to party here, and now I go upstairs to worship center. It's the craziest thing. I drop my kids off down and in the liquor locker in the old refrigerator, and so
drop my kids off at the liquor locker.
Yeah, and not the actual.
I'll see if I can get liquor locker to sponsor this episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Hashtag not a sponsor. But yeah, no, I've heard just stories mainly, nothing negative.
Yeah, I heard a little bit of it at the beginning, and I mean, whatever. I'm not gonna ever define myself by what someone else, by the negative voices or whatever. So some of them were just funny, and I thought it was really funny. I had a guy that I see all the time down here that was like, "Well, great. Where am I going to get kicked out of now?" I'm like, "Come on, we'll be happy to kick you out of church."
Totally kick you out.
But yeah, I mean, there's always going to be some negative whatever you do, but whatever.
Yeah, encounter we won't.
And we didn't really hear a lot of that. I mean, if you do, whatever, that's fine. People have the right to their opinions.
I had seen the side on the, people being mad that the bar was closing that they didn't go to, but just
I know that's the funny part.
But I didn't see the other side of it, so I was curious about that part just initially. Did you have anybody in there so like being like surprised or mad or whatever about it? It was a bar, and how are you going to make it into a church? Did you see that side of it?
Not really. I mean, people had an opportunity to go to city meetings. I mean, we actually had a hearing that you have to go through, and we posted that for 2 months ahead of time. Never heard a single negative. I think the neighbors probably were a little afraid that it was going to be loud, but then again, it was a bar beforehand that was a nightclub, and so I mean, it's like I think that's just going to happen sometimes, and it's not intentional, and I hate that. But nothing negative, I don't think.
Okay. These get less and less building centric. So
okay.
if
That's
you're okay with that,
we don't mind.
Okay. You're probably tired of talking about the stupid building, aren't you?
It's nice being finally in and not having to focus on that because that's not ever. We're not focused on a building. It's just, but it's cool. We needed one.
What was the day on the first time you guys were held service in
February 5th?
February 5th.
February 5th. Yep.
Okay. So you've been there a couple months now.
Yeah. And we tried to keep
weird,
it quiet on purpose because
Yeah.
we knew we were going to have issues with it and it wasn't finished yet. But hey, it's out now.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
And we've worked through a lot of those issues. So
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
fun.
A couple months is a good time to find out, hey, this camera doesn't work. Or
Yeah.
And we've got all those things. We really only had one night or one service, I think, that we had any technical issues of a bigger portion. So it hasn't been bad at all. And I think for me, it's more of I want the main floor to be done. And then for us to be able to say, hey, everyone's welcome. As of now, it's like, dude, you're part of our family. Come on, see our warts, see our everything. We don't care. And everyone's welcome to. But if you don't understand what we're doing with that main floor, you might not want to walk through some unfinished areas. So, I mean, that's all it was about. We're not hiding anything. But
no, I knew there wasn't like a grand opening or no.
We might have one.
The mayor wasn't ribbon cutting anything yet.
The mayor has come.
He has come?
Mm-hmm. He loved it.
We have a special guest.
We have a special guest coming up the stairs right now.
I like this.
Coming up the stairs right now, we have
Welcome
Lou
to
Rodriguez.
Podcrashers.
Here comes
Is it
Lou
Mary Allen?
Rodriguez.
It's not Mary Allen. Oh,
It's not Mary Allen.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
The Queen is not here.
Yeah,
we
great.
have
If she was here, we'd have a
There's water
pedicab
over there
or
if you need
something.
it, by the way. There's water.
there's water
if you need
right
it.
there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hey, Lou.
Hey, Jason.
So yeah, Lou, you weren't around the area whenever they bought the bar last year.
You know, it's an interesting story in that I was actually walking down 3rd Street, finishing up some business on my phone, and I thought to myself, I'm going to hang a right here on Main, and I'm going to see if I can find that building that Stu was talking about that he was going to buy. And I walked in, and the big part of the church congregation was in the building, kind of walking through, trying to figure things out. And it was almost like I saw Stu, and it's like, what are you doing here? You know,
Right.
Because I've been accused of being a vagrant before. And
Recently?
just, by family members. And that really began a journey where it was really clear that God was opening doors in really amazing ways, where it was his intention and purpose that we returned to Evansville.
And
And
so where were you at then?
I was in Northwest Indiana.
Northwest Indiana.
And we've been there for a few years, and knew that it was time to make some changes. And when we were praying and seeking the Lord about where to go, it was, Jason, it wasn't even a matter of Evansville. It was Evansville. It was Encounter. It was 317 Main. It was really clear the Lord had called us to serve at Encounter.
Cool.
And the day that he came, that day that he was talking about where he walked by, that was literally the first day we had walked in as a church. Like we had closed, like I said, it took a month after we closed to take possession. So we all came in that Saturday morning, and Lou just happened to be in town walking by the building on that first day.
He
Right.
does that.
Yeah, well.
Well, he handed me a broom and said, "Get going."
Right. That sounds right too.
Yep.
Yeah. I remember seeing you, I think it was maybe 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, something. There was a party downtown.
Yes.
And
we talked.
yeah, it was just like, why is Lou here? It was like I knew you weren't living here.
He just randomly shows up.
He just randomly shows up.
Yeah.
This is my point. So it's just...
We were in town visiting friends, and some friends invited us to that
Yeah.
event that was on, I think it's on First Street. It was nice.
Yeah. We don't want to tell everybody because we want to keep the cool stuff downtown without people knowing about it.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, I was like, this party has everything. Lou Rodriguez is here. But yeah, so you decide, hey, I think I want to be involved with this, and then, but hey, you got all this cost with the new building.
Yeah.
Can you bring on a staff member without getting rid of Paul? Which I know you want to do.
We
all the
tried
time.
to do that, but
Then I got married.
we're like, we had to keep Carly around. So
Right, you got
we
to
had
keep Carly.
So
Sure. Yeah.
No, yeah, and that was honestly when Lou and I first talked, it was, are you kidding me? Why are you calling me now? We have no money. We have no way, but we need it. And it was funny. So I said, well, why don't we both pray about it? If we feel like it's what we're supposed to do after praying about it, then God's going to provide the way for it to happen, even if we have to think outside the box. Because we could afford either a building or an associate. And since we were kind of outgrowing our gym, we felt like we needed to move forward with the building, especially since that came open and the timing was right on it.
Right.
So yeah, it was, we can't afford both. And then the Lord just kind of said, yeah, you can. And just kind of laid it in our laps, which was really cool.
And it was amazing. I remember the Lord had done some really significant things in my life. And I guess it was the weekend before, and I arrived back home, and I had told myself on a Tuesday, it's time to call Stu because I'm ready to take the jump. And literally within just minutes of me thinking that, my phone rang and it was Stu. And he said to me, I haven't felt the freedom to call you until now. And my thinking was, and I said this, I haven't felt the freedom to talk to you about this until now. And we were ready to, my wife and I, because my wife Sarah and I do ministry together. We were ready to take the jump.
Mm-hmm. And that was 2 or 3 months after that time that we saw each other, right after we moved into the building, took possession of the building. Right. So we hadn't talked in a couple months, but it was like, yeah.
Where do you see Encounter Church in 5 to 10 years?
I guess, is that a me question?
That's a, well.
Honestly, I think where we are right now is we have a service. We're already outgrowing that pretty much. We'll probably have 2 services by the fall. I would anticipate moving to 3 services and then we're good. At that point, it might be time to plant here and there. I would like to, I don't even care about the 10-year plan. I'm not there, but I think in 5 years, there's some things we'd love to do on that 3rd floor.
Yeah.
We'd like to really be utilizing that main floor for a lot of really neat relationships to just establish and really expand our ability to bring light to the downtown area. So I've never been like a numbers driven, money driven, have to have this type of thing, this type of place even. Of course, we have a building that's kind of cool and different, but that's never been part of our vision. It's always been a byproduct of just pursuing the Lord and saying, this is our heartbeat, and then God just gives it. Even the whole addition of Lou, like we just talked about, to the staff, there was never this goal of adding Lou Rodriguez to the staff. It was, God's going to bring the right person along at the right time. So what happens in 5-10 years happens in 5 or 10 years. We're going to be faithful today to blessing the downtown community that we're in, to bringing light to it, to, doing some tutoring here and helping the neighborhood association here, helping businessmen learn how to honor the Lord at work right down the street from them, whether they go to Encounter or not. Those types of things are what we hope to really be able to bring light to. Heal some relationships with people who have been hurt by the church and just love them where they are. That's all we're focused on, and what happens in 5 to 10 years happens in 5 to 10 years.
Right. So, Lou, back to you for a second. I just want something popped in my head that I meant to ask you earlier. So you were you in charge of the church? Were you like the lead pastor up in?
I was the lead pastor of the church. And when we stepped on, one of the things that really, after praying about it, my wife and I both agreed that it wasn't important to me to be the lead pastor of the church. And I had this desire to be a help to the lead pastor of a church. After a while, you have some experiences and you feel you can be a benefit to. And I remember driving down the road, and my wife and I were driving to Wisconsin. I had a speaking engagement, and Stu had asked us a long time ago to listen to some of his messages, and we were playing them in the car, and my wife just kind of looked at me and she said, "Are you listening to what he's saying?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "He thinks like you do. He has the same vision, the same passions that you do." And we just kind of just acknowledged that, and then gladly, a few years later, we got to be here. So I'm glad to be a help to Stu, and I'm glad to be a help to Paul. I enjoy working with them, and I think it's been one of the fun things about being here is I feel like I've become good friends with Paul, almost to the point where I can borrow money from him without really intention of paying it back.
Sure.
We're close.
Not quite there.
We'll start with tools, and then we'll go from there.
I've borrowed some tools. But and of course, I've enjoyed my relationship with Stu. It's been fun seeing how God has shaped him and changed him over the years, and how God is using him now.
Yeah. So there's no how do you figure out who gets to do what Sundays? As a lead pastor, do you usually I get first pick, I get all the good ones, I get Easter, Christmas,
I get Groundhog Day.
It's just what all the people want. So
sure. Online voting comes in.
Okay, so Lou used to be my boss, and now I'm his boss. And it's just funny. I don't really look at it I guess I am his boss, sure. But I think it's more about I want him to excel where he's gifted, I want Paul to excel where he's gifted. I want all of our church leadership. I want Courtney to excel where she's gifted. I want, Amy to excel where she's gifted. I want everyone excelling where they're gifted. And so one of my areas is leadership. So, okay, good. That doesn't mean I lead everything. That means I help train up leaders to lead well, so I can step back and watch them work and take a break every once in a while.
just need a vacation, Lou.
Yeah, exactly. So Lou and I are good at some of the same things, but he is way better at a few things, just a couple, than I am, and vice versa. And so I don't know that it's okay. I have to have one role. I pick first. I do that. I have a primary teaching role, but Lou's an excellent teacher.
Different styles.
Primary leadership role, but
Right.
he's leading these teams and that teams and this.
Right.
So
Okay. Paul, you just have to play music every week, and you get no breaks. Sorry.
No.
Luke, can you play guitar or anything? Can you?
No, I can't play any musical instruments. I'm just appreciative of people that know how to.
That's kind of like I can play the radio, and that's it. Okay, another question for you guys, because I don't want to keep you too much longer. With the ability to listen or watch sermons online from all over the world, what is the benefit to meeting in a physical space?
I mean, I think one of the benefits is you have accountability with other family members. You have relationships with other people. I mean, it's so easy to be isolated, and you could be isolated and have the greatest theology in the world. But if you're isolated, you won't have the greatest theology in the world, because the Christian faith involves relationships. It involves community. It involves family. It involves messiness. It involves forgiveness. It involves mistakes and relying on the grace of God and others. And so the benefit of worshiping with other people is so you actually grow instead of just become a egotistical, arrogant theologian that knows everything.
I when you read the epistles, it becomes really clear that the epistles were written to churches, and it becomes really clear when you read those that we were never intended to live the Christian life alone. No. We were always intended to live it in community. And so you see in the New Testament all the one another's, love one another, forgive one another, to be patient with one another, in fact, be patient with everybody. Stu's exactly right. We were intended to live the Christian life in community, loving each other deeply from the heart.
It's hard to love one another when we never interact, huh?
Right.
I don't know. Everyone on Facebook always gets along.
Exactly.
The last question that I have down here was, this one's a tough one. Sorry, guys. You can give this one to Paul if you want.
All right.
We're living in a politically charged time. How, as a church, do you cross those boundaries that usually divide people?
I think the gospel in itself, it goes back to that. It's going to, scripturally, it says it'll tear mother against daughter, father against son. It'll split bone and marrow. The gospel in itself is very, very messy. Like you said earlier, community is messy, and political times are messy. And
I think we're going to disagree with one another. Mm-hmm. And so I think the problem is when our culture today, we think the definition of tolerance is accepting everyone exactly as they are and affirming them as they are, and never opposing anything that you disagree with, never speaking up, and just being all happy. But that's not really a true statement of tolerance and intolerance. Tolerance is where I love you despite the fact that I disagree with you. And so, we need to be truly tolerant where we disagree and can, I disagree with you about this, but whatever, there's more important things. Mm-hmm. And so to me, I might disagree with someone over a political stance that they take. Good, I would expect that. But that doesn't mean that I reject them, or, there's more important things. So we keep the most important things the most important things. And so to me, the fact of the gospel, the message of the gospel, I am an idiot in and of myself. I'm a sinner in need of grace, and I can't pay for it on my own. Jesus paid for it for me, so I have to rely on him for any sort of righteousness I have. I'm going to screw up. I'm going to make the wrong call politically every once in a while. But the most important thing is that I'm continuing to learn. I'm continuing to grow. I'm continuing to love. I'm continuing to forgive. I'm continuing to one another, as Lou just talked about.
Yeah.
It's been a revelation to me that God is not a Republican and God is not a Democrat, and I should be more concerned about wondering whether I'm on God's side rather than He's on my side.
All right. Last question, Paul. Do you have any good country music songs based on being a church and a bar yet?
They're coming.
Okay. No sneak,
We're working on
no
it.
sneak peek titles.
No, not yet. I'm trying to get up with Garth Brooks.
Okay.
Trying to work on something, but
Okay. Cool.
I'm working on it.
Cool.
If you do, my wife wants to be the backup singer for him. That's her.
Oh, she's
life
number
dream.
one. She's
okay, good. As
numero
long as
uno.
she can be the backup singer,
Numero uno.
or according to her, the backup star.
Backup
I
star,
don't know
yes.
what that means. But
No,
that's
I
what she
think
says.
That's probably accurate. It's probably accurate.
So you've been
so.
discussing Garth Brooks before I got here.
Oh, no.
No.
Okay.
That's the first mention.
Okay.
Yeah. But Paul's a big fan. She doesn't
Did you
listen.
know that when he was in 7th grade, he used to dress up as a cowboy?
No, but that does not surprise me.
Had an afro and boots and everything.
Afro and boots. There's your
That's it.
That's your EP.
it. Next EP.
Afro boots.
Afro and boots. Right on. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for answering these questions.
Yeah.
And, yeah. We'll do something like this again, hopefully sometime.
Definitely.
If
Thank you
you'll
so much,
allow it.
Jason.
Sounds good. Thank
Thanks
you.
for inviting us.
Thanks. Thanks again to Stu, Lou, and Paul for coming on the show, talking to us. Please check out Evansville Podcasts for previous episodes. Subscribe, please, if you haven't already, on iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you like to listen to podcasts. We're probably there. And check out some of our other podcasts on the Evansville Podcast Network. Thanks. Good job, everybody.
Hey everybody, I'm Laura, the host of the Beyond Repair Show. On the Beyond Repair Show, I'll tackle your home repair questions and then go beyond to answer your life questions. How am I qualified? Well, I'm not really. However, I've tried things and I've made a lot of mistakes. That hasn't stopped me from telling others what to do. And each episode, I'll have the help of a different awesome guest host. To listen to the episodes or to submit your own repair question, find us at beyondrepairshow.com. So let's fix some stuff. You've got questions, we've got issues.